Welcome to another edition of Making Sense. Digital Dove, Zachary Moneybags Greenberg. Special guest today, Mr. Crypto Expert himself, Mitch Golson. Woohoo! All right, Mitch. Question number one. Everybody wants to know, what the heck is crypto? Explain it as simply as possible for like an old guy like me. What is it?
So crypto solves a lot of problems associated with giving money through institutions or banks, something centralized. So this guy Satoshi, it's either a guy or a group of guys, we don't know who it is, it's a pseudonym, came up with an idea, something called the blockchain, which is a brand new technology. It's an open source ledger. So anybody can log on to this open source network called the Bitcoin network. And they can see all the transactions that go on it every single day. And what you have are people called miners who take a supercomputer and they use a lot of energy and then they validate blocks. Blocks are just a bunch of transactions that go on the Bitcoin network. And all those are mined by Bitcoin miners. And they're rewarded for verifying the network, for taking energy and using energy to basically verify blocks, verify transactions are real. And when they verify that, they get rewarded in pieces of Bitcoin, right? So you
Okay.
validate
All right.
network.
So you answered a lot of questions right there. So first of all, Bitcoin basically is a virtual transaction. Okay, correct? Or a way to keeping track of virtual transactions. There's no actual dollar backing this
That's
Bitcoin.
blockchain. I don't know about that's blockchain as a whole, I feel like.
Oh, blockchain as a whole. Okay, fine. Blockchain as a whole, right? The currency that is used is called Bitcoin, right? Or
A currency.
a currency that is used is called Bitcoin. That's a version of the currency. And what miners are actually doing is they're not like digging for this actual currency, but they are verifying the transactions that happened in these different currencies. Sound right so far?
Right. And when you say currency, cryptocurrency is kind of a misnomer because I wouldn't consider something an asset that goes up like Bitcoin has a currency. You want something to be a currency that's stable, and Bitcoin is by and large not stable at all. And so crypto by itself would really be just a better name. A stable coin, which would be something that's backed, one-to-one by some assets, it's pegged to the value of a US dollar or some kind of currency. That's something that could be called a cryptocurrency, but not cryptocurrency associated with Bitcoin. I wouldn't call it that.
So what would you compare it to? Because most people in their head think of it like comparing it to a dollar or something like that. What would you compare it to? It's like a stock?
Equities is probably closer to it. I would compare it to virtual real estate.
That's actually a great description. I like that.
Yeah, I mean there are a fixed amount of Bitcoins that will ever be created. So
wait, whose WhatsApp's going off?
that's mine. That's mine.
Yeah, we're hearing that. Shut that off.
So yeah, there are going to be about 21 million Bitcoin ever created, and every day at this point there are about 450 that are mineable. Okay.
450 transactions that are mineable, or 450 different Bitcoin variations that are mineable to verify the transactions that took place within those Bitcoin variations, right?
How many Bitcoin have been mined? Like 18 million of them?
I believe it's over 19 million at this point.
Okay. So there's like 2 million left to be mined, and every day 450 of those are mined.
Who made these rules? How does that work? Is there actually a governing body? Is there who's actually like watching the hen house here?
So there's something special about crypto is that nobody can touch it. Nobody can alter the supply of Bitcoin specifically, right? And if you wanted to attack the system, you would have to do what's called a 51% attack, which is extremely hard. You'd have to get control of 51% of all the computers that are associated with mining Bitcoin. And that's near impossible. It's damn near impossible right now with the decentralized nature of what Bitcoin's become.
Okay. So once again, if we're thinking of it like a virtual investment, there are several different versions of this investment. Mining means actually just verifying transactions that took place, and people get paid for doing that. That's what mining means. It's not like you can like find new Bitcoins by mining. No, you are verifying transactions that took place using a virtual currency. That correct? That's pretty much it?
I think something that's also important is that there are only going to be 21 million ever created.
Of what?
Of Bitcoin.
So Bitcoin is, again, one type of virtual currency, and there are only going to be 21 million now. But does that mean that somebody could create another virtual currency that could have an unlimited supply, or no?
There are lots of cryptos with unlimited supplies. Dogecoin I think it's got inflation of about 5 billion a day or something like that. So something like that, I would say, is probably not sustainable for the long term. But if you're talking about a pristine asset like Bitcoin, there are only going to be 21 million ever. And right now, there are 450 produced a day. And in 4 years, in 2024, or 3 years at this point, that number is going to be slashed in half. They have what's called the halving cycle. And every 4 years, that number is slashed in half. So in 2024, there are only going to be 225 produced a day. And for all these people who are spending millions and millions of dollars to mine Bitcoin every single day, assuming that it's just going to go up, that's really important that it goes up, that these halving cycles keep pressing it up. And you see every 4 years, there's a massive explosion in crypto adoption and crypto prices go up. And that's because of this halving in Bitcoin.
Right. So it's like if someone was still manufacturing the 1956 Stratocaster, their pricing would go down, but it doesn't because there's only a few of them and their price continues to go up. So it's like an asset that is limited in supply and is wanted by a lot of people, hence why their price continues to go up. Okay. So that is essentially what these virtual cryptocurrencies are. Now, they're not actually backed by a government or by a gold standard or anything like that. Is there an overall, for all the cryptocurrencies, is there an overall ruling body? Like, how does that work? Or is it just each cryptocurrency basically has its kind of creators and rules that come with it?
So you can create a crypto, right?
Ooh, cool.
But you can't alter what you've done over there because unless you really gathered all of the computing power necessary to take over the whole network. So with something like Bitcoin, nobody can control it. Nobody can add more Bitcoin ever again.
Okay.
And a lot of people see that as a feature, not a bug. We see right now with the U.S. printing money like it's coming out of their ass.
Right.
We're having record levels of inflation every single month, and so you see a massive correlation with the amount of money that's printed, the amount of trillions of dollars that's printed, with the price of Bitcoin going up.
Why can't I just make Bitcoin too and just call it a day?
You could, but if nobody uses the network, then there's nothing backing it. What's backing it is really the people that use the network, the amount of people that believe in it, and the amount of people that believe in it.
I believe it's not really believe; it's invest.
Well, no, it is believe. It's a massive revolution, essentially, of an
What does
international.
believe mean? I believe in Bitcoin. That doesn't necessarily mean that if I believe in Bitcoin 10 years ago, it's only $100. But if I don't put my money where my mouth is, then who cares what I believe?
Well, I think it's the same thing. You're believing and investing in it, right?
But you can, but I think what drives the price up isn't that more investors getting in?
Ultimately, it is investors getting in, but the real adoption is what we're looking for. People who believe in the system, people who believe in this revolutionary technology.
Well, we're slowly seeing that like different platforms are starting to. Isn't there a country that now accepts Bitcoin or something like that?
Yeah,
as a
I
form
think
of
El
payment?
Salvador, right?
Yeah, something like that. And slowly but surely, you're hearing about, this one's going to start accepting it as a method of payment. This one's going to start accepting it as a method of payment. I think we'll eventually get there.
It's a little crazy that Bitcoin is worth 65, like now 62K, and let's say Solana is only worth $200. Like, what's the real difference between the two? Like, why
Dogecoin is worth what, 30 cents or something, or not even?
Yeah. Well, Dogecoin at least has an infinite supply, so I could hear why it's not worth that much. And there's billions of trillions of coins out there. But
So explain that, huh, Mr. Cyber Crypto Guy?
Solana is it's what's based on called a proof of stake system, which means that you don't have to mine for it, and these transactions are basically processed by validators. And so instead of getting a whole bunch of supercomputers together and fighting for rewards like that, you basically get a bunch of Solana together. So let's start out. If Ethereum is moving to proof of stake right now, you can mine Ethereum, but when they're proof of stake, you're going to have people validating blocks by essentially holding a bunch of Ethereum, and then they'll be the people that validate those transactions.
But doesn't that basically make it like any other currency, almost?
It doesn't, no, because the way Ethereum is, it's basically like a Google, right? Everything is built on Ethereum. If you look at Dogecoin was built on Ethereum. Basically, this by Vitalik Buterin, the guy who created Ethereum, he created it so that it could be a hub for everything to be built on and run through, right? So if you want to make a coin, you're most likely going to make what's called an ERC20 token, which is just built on Ethereum, super easy to make, costs maybe $100-$200, and you'll have your own coin. And so you have what's called dApps, decentralized apps. You have people making games that are basically on a blockchain. Everything's provable, and so everything is basically made on Ethereum. And that's why, I would compare it to Google because, Google kind of interconnects everything.
Right. Wow. Okay.
Um,
So practical purposes. Why are you using
Wait,
blockchain?
can I clarify something on that?
Sure. Sure. Go ahead.
So we said Bitcoin you can mine, but Ethereum you instead of earning by mining, which is just like supercomputers proving like verifying the transactions, we say that Ethereum you earn more of by staking. So does that mean the longer you hold Ethereum for, the more Ethereum you get?
So right now, Ethereum is still mineable. It's still technically.
Let's just say, what is proof of stake? Is that the longer I hold a crypto for, the more I get? And the more I have, the more I get?
Well, I know that. I guess theoretically, if you had a moment where somebody had exactly the same amount as another validator, right? That would probably be decided by who the what's called the time that you've held it, right? The time that you've bought it and held it. But when you're fighting for these blocks, it's basically who has more that you really care about.
Okay. And now, as an investor, how does this work? I should be viewing this similar to my stocks, my real estate, something like that. Something that I'm gonna buy and hold, or move around based on what I see it doing. How does this work as an investor?
So, it's interesting because someone like Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, he had a little portion of his money invested in crypto, and recently he upped it to I think almost 10%. So you see
All his money.
of all his money, of all his net
That's,
worth,
that's millions and millions of dollars.
right?
Really? I mean, not billions.
More than
Billions, really, right?
Yeah.
Well,
So you see people these days kind of taking a massive portion of their wealth. Even 10% is a massive portion compared. I would say even more than that potentially is even warranted. You see every 4 years this stuff blows up just because people are adopting it, more people are using it, more people are jumping in, and the amount of money that's coming into the market is insane right now. They're printing trillions of dollars, and everything is really going up. Yes,
US dollars.
all-time highs every single day. And I would say Bitcoin is incredibly undervalued at this point. It's hard to say from 0 to 60,000, but I think we're going way higher than 100,000. By maybe not the end of this year, but certainly by the end of next year, we'll be there.
wow. All right, he said it today, guys. Mitch Golson said Bitcoin is going to be over 100,000. Let's see. Well, I guess we'll have to do a show then and see if you're right. Wow, that's a pretty big prediction. And this started out at what? How much
Zero.
did you? Zero. So you were buying Bitcoins for $1 back in the day, and now it's worth.
No, I was about 9 years old when it was created. Unfortunately,
Do you
It was
have
probably
any?
very hard to get when back in the day.
yeah, there weren't a lot of exchanges onboarding crypto. Yeah,
Do you have any Bitcoin, Mitch?
I don't have any Bitcoin actually.
Any partial Bitcoin?
I don't have any partial Bitcoin. I might have about $20 in some exchange. I don't have a big enough, wallet to really make an impact if I would just go all in on Bitcoin. You have what's called Bitcoin maximalists, which are people that just believe in Bitcoin and don't really buy into any other shit. No altcoins, no shit coins. They don't really want to throw their money anywhere else except for Bitcoin. And I just don't have that, I guess, outsized wealth that I could drop something into Bitcoin, hold it forever, and expect a massive return.
You're not
Hopefully, I'll
Kevin
get there
O'Leary.
someday. No, I'm not Kevin O'Leary. I think
Wow.
smaller portfolios might make a little more sense if you could afford a full Ethereum and then tell yourself, I'm never going to sell this. That makes a lot of sense to me. If I had said that back in the beginning of 2020 when Bitcoin crashed to about $3,000, and I just said I'm going to buy one Bitcoin and never sell it, I would be very happy right now.
Wow. All right. There you have a very quick beginning explainer tutorial, which, hey, if I understand it, you can understand it. Beginning tutorial on the finer points of cryptocurrency. I learned a lot of words today. Ethereum, DEP, DOP, whatever. Wow, good stuff. All right, Mitch Golston, Zachary Modenbag, Greenberg's Digital Dove. We'll see you all at the next show. Stay right there.